Well, hello. Hello, everyone. It is a great day. It is another great day. Don't you just love these great days? Yeah, these are days that we look forward to. A day that God has given us so that you and I can be together and that you can be with friends and family safely. Well, great to be with you today. Well, we continue in our talk about tests, trials, and tribulations. Oh, what a week it has been as we've talked about tests, trials, and tribulation. I hope and pray that you're not going through any of those T's today, that you're not faced with any of those. But if you are, hopefully some of the things that we've been sharing this week is helping you to deal with some of those conflicts that you're faced with. Well, today we talk about the life of a biblical character. Yeah, we share the life of a biblical character that has been confronted with trials and tribulations. And we're going to look at how he dealt with his trials and tribulations and how God used him in the midst of all of his situations and circumstances. Well, we're talking about the life of Joseph in the Bible. And his life is one example of God making something good out of something bad. I love it when God does that. Has he done that for you? Has he made something good come out of something bad that you were facing? He is so good at doing that. Well, Joseph had an unbroken fellowship with God. His circumstances all around him kept changing, but his relationship with God was consistent. It remained the same. Now, God communicated with Joseph through dreams. He revealed the future. He revealed Joseph's future through his dreams. And Joseph began to share what his dreams were all about with his brothers. He had many brothers, and he began to share that with his brothers. And he'd wake up again the next day and share the dream with his brothers. But his dreams always had Joseph ruling over his brothers. Of course, you know that didn't go over too well. So his brothers every time they heard Joseph telling a dream and he was ruling over them, they got more and more upset with him. Well, those brothers said to themselves, "We've had enough of him." And on top of that, Joseph's father made a special coat for him, a beautiful coat, because he loved Joseph so. And that added fuel to the fire when the brothers saw that the father had given Joseph this beautiful coat. Well, it is said that the father sent the sons to tend the flocks. And shortly afterwards, he asked Joseph to go check on his brothers. And when the brothers saw Joseph coming close by, the brothers started saying things like, "Here comes the dreamer. We should kill him." And the seed was planted. They were plotting to kill their own brother because of his dreams. Because of a dream, you're going to kill somebody because of a dream? Well, that's what happens when jealousy comes in, when envy comes in. Well, what happened after that was they decided not to kill him, but to sell him into slavery. So the things that transpired in Joseph's life, we're going to fly through those real quick because you can read it for yourself right there in Genesis, starting at verse 37, chapter 37, all the way through the chapters that follow. The brothers decided to sell him as a slave. So Joseph was sold and taken to Egypt as a slave. The next thing that happened to him was he was in his master's house, Potiphar, and Potiphar's wife wanted Joseph to do something that Joseph didn't want to do. So Potiphar's wife accused Joseph of seducing her. She ripped his coat off, and of course Joseph ran. On hearing this, Potiphar threw him in prison. Can you see the trials begin to mount up? The trials and the tribulations of Joseph began to mount up because of all the situations and circumstances around his life. He spent years in prison for something he didn't do. Either God has a bad sense of humor or God has a plan even in the midst of this trial. And I think that God had a plan even in the midst of all of the things that Joseph was going through. But his fellowship with God was unaffected. Joseph remained faithful to God throughout all of his time. And then it is stated, Joseph had favor with God no matter where he was. He had favor with God. Well, while Joseph was in prison, Pharaoh had sent two of his chief officers to prison for whatever reason. One was a cupbearer and one was a baker. Well, while in prison, Joseph interpreted both of their dreams. One of the dreams was a good one and one was a bad one. The cupbearer, his dream ended up being that he would go back and be in favor with Pharaoh once again. Of course, the baker's dream, being interpreted by Joseph, ended up that he would lose his head. Well, that actually happened. The cupbearer actually went back and was put back in position as the chief cupbearer of Pharaoh. And then 2 years later, Pharaoh had a dream that needed to be interpreted. 2 years later, the cupbearer remembers, there is a man in prison that interpreted my dreams. Let's see if he can interpret Pharaoh's dream. So they sent for Joseph, brought him to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh shared his dreams with Joseph. Joseph interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh. And to speed the story up today, Pharaoh's dream was interpreted by Joseph to such degree that Pharaoh ended up placing Joseph in a high position there in Egypt as one of the officials. As a matter of fact, he was the second most powerful person there in Egypt. Now, we need to stop right there. We need to stop right there. Because here we are with a young man starting off with brothers who didn't like him, and he was about 17 at that time. Brothers who didn't like him. He had nothing. He became a slave. The only thing that he had was he stayed in favor with God throughout all of his circumstances. Well, the story goes on beyond there, but we are stopping there today because I have a wonderful song to sing for you. But before I sing my song for you, let's make these key points today. And these are key points that you and I need to hold on to. Let's hold on to these key points in the midst of all of our tests, trials, and tribulations. Because if you're not going through one today, it may be tomorrow. It may be next week. It may be next year. But whenever it shows up, we will know exactly how to position ourselves for success in the midst of tests, trials, and tribulations. One of the first things I want you to hold in mind is to keep your faith strong in God, no matter what. In the midst of your circumstance, keep your faith strong in God. The second thing, trust that He knows where you are and what you're going through. Trust that God knows where you are and what you're going through. He's not forgotten you. The next thing for us as we prepare ourselves for the next event that happens to us is to keep a great attitude in the midst of your situation. Yeah. Keep a great attitude and keep great integrity in the midst of your conflicts. Don't fly off the handle. Don't blow up at people. Stay calm and keep yourself in a position where you can still be successful even though you're going through difficulties. One of the main things you need to keep in mind, and this is the next one, never doubt God. Don't doubt Him. Don't doubt Him in the midst of what you're faced with. Doubt will come in and say, He's forgotten you. Don't believe it. He's not forgotten you. Doubt will come along and say, you need to just move on. Just move on without Him. Don't believe that either. Never doubt God in the midst of your circumstances. And then here's a good one. Worship Him in the midst of your trials. Just begin to worship God right there in the midst of all that you're faced with. Give praise to Him. Worship Him, even though things are not going the way that you want them to go. Just worship Him. Don't give up. Worship Him in the midst of your trials. And be strong. Even though you're being beat down, be strong in the Lord. Be strong in Him. And He will definitely see you through. My final statement to you today before I sing this wonderful, wonderful hymn is, favor with God is more important than favor with man. Did you hear that? Favor with God is more important than favor with man. Which means oftentimes we will try in the midst of trials and circumstances to gain the favor of man all around us so that they can change our situation. No. Keep your favor with God. Favor with God is more important than favor with man. Well, I have this wonderful hymn to sing for you today, and it simply gives allegiance to God in our lives. Simply saying that He is Lord of everything. Everything that happens to me, He is Lord of it all. Listen to this great hymn. Jesus is Lord of all. Let's give a listen. my struggles, contentment at last. Jesus is Lord of all. King of kings, Lord of lords, Jesus is Lord of all thy possessions and all thy life. Jesus is Lord of all of my conflicts, all my faults. Jesus is Lord of all. His love wins the battle I could not have fought. Jesus is Lord of all. King of kings, Lord of lords, Jesus is Lord of all Well, did you sing along? I hope you did. But more than that, I hope you caught the meaning that no matter what we go through in life, Jesus is Lord of all. Yes, even your tests, trials, and tribulations have to bow down to God. God is not frightened by your circumstance. No. He's not taking a back seat because of what you're going through. He knows where you are, and he knows what he wants to do right there in the midst of your circumstance for you. He wants to do great things for you. So hold on, my friends. Hold on. And don't ever give up. Well, I've enjoyed being with you today. May God bless you all, keep you strong and healthy, and I look forward to seeing you again. When? Tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you next time.